Hello everyone, welcome back to the kitchen table. Today on the kitchen table I've got the Vision Plus out because we're going to be doing the results of our real world testing of the ITElite DBS mods panel antenna mod for extending the range for those of you who want to do such a thing for your Phantom 2 Vision Plus. Now, before we go any further though, it's the kitchen table, and tradition dictates that when discussing drones, especially if we're talking long range, we must have a beverage. Today we're back in Australia. Now the Australians have a reputation, I think somewhat unfairly, for perhaps not being as subtle as they could be, but in this case it might be justified, because here we have the Messant Park Cabernet Sauvignon Cabernet Franc Merlot blend. They've just thrown everything in there from Coonawarra and McLaren Vale, and very nice it is too, so cheers. Yes, I know. The dishwasher is beeping in the background to remind me that there's another thing I've got to do. I've got to empty it now. Such is the perils of filming in the kitchen. Anyway, you may remember that I got sent this panel antenna by DBS. And in the original video, I kind of showed it and explained what they said it could do. But I didn't want to test it myself for a couple of reasons. One, I've already modified my antenna and range extender before. You do need to do some surgery to your aircraft to fit these mods, and so I wouldn't have to do that. And that is, I think, part of the consideration when you buy something like this. How easy is it to actually get inside the guts of your transmitter and range extender and do those mods? So I couldn't test that. I've done it. It would be relatively straightforward. And the other reason is because those mods I've already done on my original Phantom 2 Vision, the original Vision, and you know, the range extender is now different with the Vision Plus, obviously different hardware at the aircraft end, so it wouldn't really be a true test. And the third reason is that as you know, I don't fly beyond visual range, so that's all that I would be able to test. Anyway, so I decided I'd put out a call, didn't I? A competition on the channel, and I said that people could ask, could let me know why they would be the right one to test it. And out of many entries, I picked one, Jason Naylor, to be the lucky recipient. And as part of the deal, Jason had to just give me some feedback, and he's gone one better than that. He's done an entire video showing not only how he got on with fitting it, but then testing it. So without further ado, let's pull up a glass and sit back and hand over to Jason.
Hello, welcome to my kitchen table. Simon Newton was good enough to send me this to test and try out, and to show everybody whether it's easy enough just to install it. As you can see, I've never installed anything like this before. We've got an untouched, unmodified, apart from obviously the carbon fibre stuff, and my controller hasn't been modified whatsoever. And there's the extender, completely unmodified. But as is customary for Simon's channel, I'm gonna have a quick drink. And the beverage of choice, because I need a steady hand for this job, is Costco water. Cheers. Nice. So today we're going to be putting this ITElite antenna panel onto the controller and extender to hopefully extend the range and see how effective it is. The tools listed on the website are hobby knife with some long nose pliers, but I've got tweezers in the pack, so I shouldn't need those. A 1.5mm Allen key, or hex key I think they call it on the website. A 5/16 spanner for tightening up your patch cables. A drill with a 1/4 inch drill bit to drill holes through the extender, and it recommends, although it doesn't list it, to put a blob of glue on top of the connections inside the remote and extender. So let's crack on. I'll be using instructions, by the way, from the ITElite website, and they are actually listed as instructions and a demo. So we've got the instruction there. The first thing I need to do is undo these 4 hex bolts with the Allen key. So what I will do is, I won't bore you with the undoing, but I'll show you this when it's undone. Apparently it's best to use your fingernail around the edge, because if you don't, you can ruin the plastic because it's very soft. So that's the screws taken out. What I've decided to do is get a couple of plastic tubs just to put screws in, because these little beggars do tend to roll around a lot. Just a quick tip of something that I found when running my fingernails around this thing is that you need to find the middle section. It does pry away quite easily, but when you get to the middle section you need to push hard, because that little lug, which you can just see there, connects into there, it grabs. So if you push with your fingernail it will pop out, and exactly the same for the other side. Okay, so that came open quite easily. It does recommend from this point that it's important not to turn the extender on until you've finished and got the antennas plugged in, because you can potentially burn out the extender. So just be aware of that when you're fiddling around in here, that you don't want to switch it on accidentally. On the video now, it recommends to just gently pry these 2 connectors off. It says don't use your hands, because you could potentially ruin it. Those connectors, they just pop straight off. There was no force needed. You just get the tip of the screwdriver and just lever it upwards. Next step is actually to remove this this little board. So the screws to undo are this one, this one, this one. Don't worry about that, it's a piece of rubber, it's very flexible, and this one. Okay, now the screws are out. The same with that. With these screws, just put them in a little plastic container, that way you're not going to lose them. What it says is that this end of the board is actually wedged in by the USB connector on the other side there. So you need to be careful when removing the board, and it needs to come up from this end. So if we pry this very gently, and just being careful of the battery wires as well. So that came out quite easily. When you lift the board up, you just have to pull it away from this end. You can see here the USB connectors and whatnot, and the switch to turn it on and off. We need to strip this stuff out now. The foam insulation, I found it easier if you just pull it from around the sides, because it's quite sticky. And once you've got it from all around the sides, just give it a little tug and it will actually come off, revealing the 2 antennas there. To get these antennas out, we just need to move these retaining clips backwards whilst prying these out. But obviously be gentle with them, because you want to keep them just in case you revert back. So there's that retaining clip, these 2 retaining clips. If you pop it out from that side, it should lift out away from them. Okay, one thing that I did find is that it was just a little bit tougher than I expected, because these antennas are actually glued down. So once you move the retaining clips, don't be frightened to give it a little bit underneath, a bit of leverage, but obviously don't give it too much. You can actually feel when the antenna's lifting up. And if you look at this, you can just see there where it's glued down. Okay, so now we're clean and I've got the glue out. It's time to actually think about where we're going to locate these things, and I'm going to go with where it says in the video, which is in between there and in between there. So the connectors will actually run there and there, but the only problem we've got is that we need to take this rib out, and also that rib there, and also trim this wall down and this part so that the connectors can sit in there. I'm going to do that with a hobby knife, one of these. Okay, so the cuts are complete. You can see there the 2 grooves, one there and one there. We're going to be drilling our holes around about there and there for the connectors to go through. As you can see, there's nothing left of the 2 ribs there, and we've got the nice cut out just at the bottom there. Okay, first mistake, realised before I was drilling when I was looking at the other side, you want the wires to come out the same side as the lights. So it's this side that we should have cut before. It's no there's nothing lost there, so I'll cut these sides out as we did this side, and then we're good to go. Okay, so I've done it on the opposite side now. Just cut that rib out that was there, and cut these two walls down, as you can see. Okay, so I've drilled the holes now. A little bit of a tip for you: get a piece of wood. It's not good to hold onto the plastic, as I found with the first hole. But if you put your dots on to guide you, and then just tip it up on its edge and drill like that, you'll get a nice clean hole. And it looks something like that. Now I'm going to put the connectors on. Okay, so now I've pushed the connectors through. I've tightened up the nuts on the other side. One is slightly lower than the other. I'm not really bothered about that. You can do a better job than I have of getting it level. What I've done is I've got the longer lead on the right hand side and the shorter lead on the left. Just because this end of the cover is nearest to the connector on the board. Okay, so with the board back in place, you just need to replace the 4 screws. That one, that one, that one, and that one. I've put a bit of hot glue underneath there just to hold this pad in place, to stop the light bleeding through the case. Okay, so when it's all back together, it looks kind of like this. I've just put a blob of hot glue on the connectors. It says to sweep the cables round. Okay, so they're finished. Well, Wi-Fi extend looks like this. It's all gone back to normal nicely. It still recommends not turning it on until it's all connected up, as it can burn something out inside there. So I'll not do that. We'll move on to the controller next, which should be a little simpler. All in all, this probably took no more than 30 minutes. Probably been quicker if I wasn't filming, and if I hadn't have made the mistake of cutting the wrong side first. It's quite a quick process, really. Okay, so with the receiver, or the controller rather, we need to remove 4 screws. That one, that one, that one, and that one. And then you kind of pull the controller apart and you slide the bottom part downwards just to pull it through. Okay, so now the controller's apart. There's 4 wires that we had to remove from this board so that we can separate this all together. And when you've pulled these wires out, you just put that to one side, as you don't need it quite yet. The bit we're concentrating on now is this. We need to remove all of the glue that's holding that antenna on there, the antenna cord rather, so that we can pop off the wire underneath and replace it with one that's supplied by ITElite. So the best way of doing this is with a X-Acto knife or a Stanley knife, and just very small pieces, cut them out, and then use your tweezers or your long nose pliers just to take the stuff away. But be very careful, because you can easily damage things in there. I'll trim everything away and then I'll come back and we'll have another look. Okay, so I've got the majority of that, I think it's silicone, off there, so it should just now pop off, and then when it's popped off we can clean the rest of the connector up. That's how it looks. Okay, at this point you can see I've cleaned up that as best as I can. What I've done, I've just eased off the wire so that I could just move it to one side. I'm actually going to leave the aerial on, just to make it look a little bit better. I've marked a little dot where I'm going to drill my hole for the connector, and I'm going to do it the same way on the block, just to make sure it's nice and steady. And the next time you see this, we'll have the connector tightened up and ready to go. Okay, as you can see, I've put the connector in there, the other end of the wire which sits on there, and then what I will do is put a dab of hot glue there just to make sure it doesn't pop off. Let me turn the controller over. That's what it looks like. Like I said, I'm going to leave the antenna there just for show. I'll put the hot glue there and seal it all back up. Okay, so the finished product, you can see you've got the wires going into the back, the two together from the extender, and the other one going to the controller. So we'll get out with this hopefully tomorrow, weather depending, and give it a test. Okay, before we go out and fly, just need to know the maximum distances I was getting without the ITElite panel. The maximum I got was, like in this image here, 1,477 feet. Okay, finally a day where we've not got much wind and the weather's not too bad, so I'm actually going to test the ITElite panel, see what sort of distances we get. Like I said before, we only got 1,477 feet maximum without the panel, so let's see how this does. Okay, I'm aware that this is quite a long video, so what I've done here is I've sped up the footage by 300%. Previously I would only just get to the other side of the lake, which was about 1,477 feet, but on this occasion I managed to get over 3,800 feet, which is more than double my previous score. It did kind of glitch out just up here, and then went into return to home mode just past these trees, and when it did return home, probably about 3/4 of the way back, I actually managed to gain control of it again, and I sent it off in another direction. All in all, the ITElite panel, or ITElite panel, did its job really well. Wasn't that big a task to install it really, and I'm very appreciative to Simon for giving me the chance to test it for you and deliver you some footage of it. To finish off here, you can see in the FPV booster app the maximum distance that I got with that flight, which was 3,812.5 feet. Thanks for watching, and see you again.
So there we go. Massive thanks for Jason there for doing that very thorough job. I think that serves to be a really good instructional video on how to do the mod. You can see out of the with not much tweaking and with relatively kind of low level flying, he was doubling the range he was getting before, which is really encouraging. One comment he made to me was that he felt that it got very directional, especially if there was any tree line or hedge line or foliage between you and the panel. You know, it started to get to the point where you really needed to watch the direction, and that's going to be understandable. The thing is designed to work on a fairly tight beam. Obviously, for optimum range, flatter terrain and higher altitude of flying will get you clear of ground clutter, but that's something to be aware of, perhaps. The only other thing he said was that he's, downside of it is now he wants to go even further, so he's going to spend more time tweaking with that and even looking what else might be out there. So there we go. I hope you enjoyed that. That should hopefully give you enough information to decide whether this is a value for money mod for you. I'll put links on the screen now to Jason's full original video on his channel. Go and have a look at that again if you want to. And we'll also put links in the description down to the DBS Mods website where they have their the panel antenna, and also it's about to be released, or has only just been released, the new mods that they're bringing out for the Phantom 3. So there we go. Many thanks indeed, as ever, for joining me today. Thanks for your support and subscribing, and particular thanks if you're one of the now many channel patrons who help support the channel with a small regular donation to help me be able to continue to bring interesting things to the screen for you. Many thanks, and we'll see you again soon back on the kitchen table. Until then, cheers. Oh, nice big flock of Texel sheep there.